Today's devotion is titled, He Thinks Good Thoughts of Us. We're on day 154 and we're on June the 3rd. And the morning rinse of today is Jeremiah 29 through 31. Such a great little section to read. And so I would encourage you to read that. Featured verse out of the morning rinse is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare or to prosper, and not for calamity. Other words, to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. So other translations would say plans to prosper you and not to harm you, and to give you a future and a hope. As you guys know, I'm a pastor's kid, or I grew up as a pastor's kid. And like I mentioned, I think the other day or yesterday, I called myself a retired pastor's kid because my dad is retired now. So I grew up as a pastor's kid, and now I don't know what I'm called. But growing up as a pastor's kid and, going to all kinds of conventions and going to kinds of, youth camps and listening to lots and lots of sermons, I heard literally, I've heard thousands of sermons or teachings and have this like internal list inside my brain of verses or stories that seem to kind of be a very popular story or verse to tell and to get quoted from a pulpit. And today's featured verse is one of those verses that is on that list. So to know the creator of the universe is thinking loving thoughts of me every day is such a really cool thing to think. He created the universe, and yet he thinks loving thoughts every single day about me. And that, if we just think about it and just dwell on that for a moment, our brain really can't comprehend the truth of that. But it is true. God does think of us, and he longs for a relationship with us, and he longs for us to desire a relationship with him in return. And when hard things come our way, it's easy to think that the opposite is true. When those hard times come, if we're not careful, then, we can go through seasons where we even blame God when struggles come. And I hope that we are all growing to the fact that, blaming God isn't going to help us. It's not that. Hopefully we grow past that. And, it is though, comparably speaking, that when my kids were younger, they'll laugh when they hear this, but they had a struggle, whenever they would have a struggle with life, or if there was a struggle with a situation or a circumstance, then there would be times where they would have this urge to question whether or not we had a role in the issue that they were facing. And let's face it, none of us have ever done that about our parents, right? That's why I said my kids would probably chuckle if they heard this, because there were times like they would think that we were a part of the struggle there. And my husband would often chuckle and say to them, I do not lie in bed at night asking myself how I can make things miserable for my kids. And you know what? It's funny. I think he still will quote that every once in a while when the kids are, saying, did you do that? Or something of that nature. I think it's just something that, and even in jest, he'll joke around. And it is a funny statement, but there is some truth to it. When we look at it from a spiritual standpoint, and if we start to say, okay, God, what in the world? Why did this happen? And you were a part of it, maybe? I'm sure that we've all had moments like that. But the reality of it is, God does not sit on his throne wondering how to make our life hard. Granted, there could be times where if he's trying to get our attention, he will allow things to occur instead of thwarting that. Sometimes we do have to go through hard things so that God can show us that he is real. But he doesn't he sit on his throne and just think up this master plan to just have life just be hard for us at times. Instead, he thinks of us with love and compassion, and he longs to have a relationship with us. And not only does he want that relationship, he believes in us. He really does. And sometimes it can be challenging to remember this, especially if we have made this huge, big mistake in life and we're trying to turn our lives around, or if we, think that there's some challenges along the way and we just don't know how to get out of that. Sometimes it's hard to believe in us alone, yet think that God believes in us too, and to remember that. But he does. He truly does believe in our ability to carry out the mission that he has created us to carry out. Oftentimes it's our choices and our decisions that get us off track, but he never stopped believing in us. He's never stopped believing in us fulfilling the purpose that we are on this earth to fulfill. He is our biggest fan, and he is our biggest cheerleader, even in the midst of us making mistakes. And since he believes in us, he gives us tasks to do, and he sets us up for success if we follow his ways, versus setting us up to fail with unreachable accomplishments. I liken it to this guy. He was on the board of a very large global brokerage, a real estate brokerage. And one of the things that he describes is he's very big on systems and order. And what he does is he explained one day, I was watching a video of his, and he said, if you have a really good system set in place, or you have systems in your business set in place, and you have good people that are trying to follow along on that system, you're going to succeed. And if you have these really great systems set in place, but you have an employee that is just not that great of an employee, but he's following along on the systems that you've set in place, you're going to succeed. Eventually, he will learn those systems. But if you have a fantastic employee, if you have this really great, 5-star rated employee, but your systems are not great at all, then you're going to fail. And I think that I liken that to the Bible, because God has given us great systems in place. If you look back and think about the book of James, it's the how-to guide for Christ followers. It's like the miniature manual, if you will. And God gives us the systems set in place. He gives us his word. And if we follow those systems that he's given us, if we follow the word, then we are going to succeed. And, granted, even if we're not the best at making wise decisions, or if we're still trying to learn what Christ followers do, or still trying to make our way into getting back on track with something, if we follow along on the systems that God has set in place, we don't have to be the 5-star employee that won all the awards. We just have to follow the systems. And eventually we're going to get better and better at, this journey that we are on. God truly does set us up for success if we follow his ways, versus he doesn't sit on his throne and set us up to fail with all of these unreachable accomplishments. He gifts us and he calls us, knowing that we can complete the tasks that he's given us. And he has committed to walking through those plans with us. That's his commitment to us. He has never said, I am going to leave you. But he says the opposite. I will never leave you nor forsake you. But we have to let him into our lives and be a part of the whole entire plan. He is also right beside us, walking with us through all of our challenges that we face each and every day. If we face challenges or those ups and downs that we have in our lives, he's there right with us, walking with us through those challenges that we face. And we will all face challenges. That is guaranteed. All of us are going to have challenges. We're going to have hard decisions that we have to make or hard choices that we have to make. It is one thing to have a cheerleader, like a friend with us. All of us hopefully have really great friends who cheer us on and who support us in our decisions. And it's really great. And it's one thing to have a friend as a cheerleader as we live life, but it's another whole nother level to have Jehovah Jireh, our provider, believing in us and longing to be with us through all the highs, through all the lows. And it's not only the reality that he's with us, but he also has a plan to build us up, to bless us, and to fill us with hope and a plan for the future. He thinks good thoughts of us. He loves us. And that is so surreal to know that he is there and that he loves us so much. So today's challenge to dig deeper is to ask yourself, do you truly believe that God has loving thoughts for you? And do you truly believe that God wants you to succeed in life? Is there a little inkling there that thinks, I'm not 100% sure. I still feel like maybe he has the gavel on the judge's table. I hope that this encourages you. Do you truly believe that he wants an intimate relationship with you as well? Do you truly believe all of these things? And what about your struggles? Do you feel God's presence through them? Through those struggles, do you feel God's presence? Your challenge today is to talk to him about these questions. And then listen to his loving response. Listen to what he has to say about the thoughts that he has for you and the plans that he has for you. So I guess it's not really a challenge per se in that it's going to be a hard thing. Sometimes challenges are just doing the thing. The thing might not necessarily be hard. It just might be the fact of doing it. So embrace the fact that God has great thoughts for you, that he loves you, and that he is there for you even in the midst of your hardest challenges, or if you're having a rough day. If you're just feeling a little down, know that he is there with you through it all. And listen to him talk to you through those challenges. Let him embrace you. Let him tell you what he thinks of you. Let him talk to you. And when you pull out your journal tonight, write down the conversation you had with God today. Even if it's just a few notes about it, what did God tell you today about you and what his thoughts are? And remember, he is near and he wants a deep, deep relationship with you. I know that this conversation is going to bring you victory. And even if you knew this already, I hope that today's devotion made you feel like your roots in this knowledge grew deeper, and that today encouraged you and reminded you of how important you are to him. You are important, regardless of the things that you've done, and regardless of the things that you might feel like you messed up in, or regardless of maybe even feeling like you're slow to the table of doing some of the things that God's asked you to do. Have a conversation with him and be encouraged that you are so important to him, and that he loves you very much, and that he is there for you all day, every day, through everything that you're going through. He sits in your car with you when you drive. He listens to the same music that you're listening to, obviously, because he's sitting in the car with you. He, is standing right there when you're parenting or out to dinner with your spouse. He knows all of it, and he knows you and loves you very, very much. And I hope that you're encouraged today. And I hope that, if there's anybody in your life that needs a little bit of encouragement, I hope that you are there for them, and send them this podcast, and have them join in on the daily devotions, and just reading the Bible. Even if you don't read the morning rinse, but you just look at the featured verse and read the devotion, or, come on here on the podcast. I hope that it encourages you, because you are worth it. You are worth it. And, God loves you very, very much. So as we continue on through Jeremiah, until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.